In the lower left position, as the blue Protoss player, we do have ABOMB. And in the top right, as the red Zerg, we do have Phamut. So, as I believe we haven't said yet, it is game 4 of a best of 5. Yes. Currently, ABOMB is 2-1 up. So if he wins this game, he wins the series. Phamut has to win this to force a game 5. And as we were mentioning earlier, let's talk a little bit about this map, because it is quite interesting in the way that the natural has 2 entrances. And obviously you've got your normal entrance, which if we're looking at this from ABOMB's perspective is just to the top of his natural. But then you've got this entrance to the side. It's a bit narrower. It goes down to a nice third, and there are some destructible rocks, which give you a quick entrance in. However, there is a long way through, which isn't blocked by any rocks. So early aggression can be pretty strong there, especially things like speedlings could be very dangerous. So that's why we're seeing ABOMB go for the wall off in the main base. And you really have to do that. There's no safe way you can take that natural with a Forge, Fast Expand, or a Nexus first on this map. It's just impossible.
Yeah, it's different from the standard, and that doesn't necessarily make it bad. But a lot of players are so confident playing their, Forge first into Nexus, or their Nexus first into Forge, and then play the game from there, that they might have a little bit of trouble adapting to a new situation. And this is definitely a map that we're going to see banned and vetoed throughout everything, really. If I'm Protoss and I play on this map, I veto it, I ban it when possible. It's definitely going to be, the first ban to take, because of that. So hard to take a second base. The third base is difficult to defend as well. It's a new map. It's a new idea. I'm curious to see how it's going to work out. Maybe people are going to start feeling confident on it with their gateway openings, and maybe this is going to be incorporated into PvZ matchups. But as of right now, I know all my Protoss friends and relatives. Actually, I don't have that many relatives that play Protoss.
I was going to say, do you have Protoss relatives? That must be pretty funky.
All Protoss players are my brothers. That's what I'm trying to say.
Protoss all the way. Of course, though, loads of Protoss players are going to be vetoing this. Now,
yeah, that's my point.
I'm just taking a look here. Phamut has gone for the similar opening to what we've seen in a previous game. He went hatch first, gas pool, which is just really crazy brave. He's getting an early speed up, which I really hope is followed up by a quick Rotron. He has pulled all the drones out of gas, so maybe just trying to exploit the second entrance into the Nexus should ABOMB have expanded out. But of course, the Overlord has seen that there is no expansion, sees also that there is a gateway on the way in this hidden position here, does see the second one. That is really important. So sees the fact that it's going to be 3 gates straight away. And I'm surprised ABOMB actually put those gateways there, because it's not the best place to hide them. You'd be better off hiding them towards the top of this island, in my opinion.
This could be a bit of an old strategy as well. This could be that old-fashioned 3-gate expand that used to be the standard. Sentry expand with 3 gateways used to be the standard metagame in PvZ. Like 1.5 years ago, not too long after StarCraft was released, this was the standard thing to do. So maybe ABOMB is going to be trying to freak Phamut out a little bit, because Phamut is definitely freaking out. He's making 2 spine crawlers. He's been making a few links. He's got an extra queen on the way, so he's definitely investing in his defense. And if ABOMB just decides to expand, it could throw him off. It
could do indeed, and you have to freak out a little bit, because it was a dangerous strategy, as you said. It was the standard before, except now in Heart of the Swarm, you've got a mothership core as well, which is just like saying, I'm going to be aggressive against you, and should it not work, should you have actually bothered to defend this, I'm going to recall and lose nothing, and really not be too badly off. As a result, you lose nothing. And if they've defended, if they haven't defended, you killed a lot. And you're actually in pretty equal terms either way. Because should the Zerg player have got out those spine crawlers and a lot of speedlings, as we've seen Phamut do, it just means that they've not got as many drones and they're not getting an economic lead on you.
Oh, this is so old school, man. This is what PvZ used to be all about. I'm getting flashbacks to the past. Oh my god, where's the force fields? Oh my god, that scared me for a second there. But it looks like the sentries are going to stay alive. Good force fields coming out of ABOMB, but there's still a lot of Zerglings left alive. He has to throw down those force fields perfectly. He does miss a few, and he loses a few of his sentries, but the 3 gateways, of course, going to be warping in some zealots. This is really what the PvZ metagame looked like 1.5 years ago, when Kiwi Kaki was still one of the big Protoss player names.
Indeed, that does bring back good memories, doesn't it?
It does.
Yeah, looking here, Nexus up, that's nice. We see the speedlings running out the second entrance to the natural. And a little point I'd like to pick up on what ABOMB did is that his Mothership Core was actually moved forward to give him better vision of when that push was coming, to give him some forewarning in order to chuck down those force fields and pull his units back to the ramp. So it's one of those nice little minor things which shouldn't be overlooked in my opinion. But again, looking from Phamut's side, his drone count is pretty much equal with ABOMB's. There's only a few difference in there, so that's the price he's paid for committing to those speedlings, thinking the aggression was coming, and therefore his third base is now only just started. But of course, ABOMB's natural was quite late, so that doesn't matter too much. The Rotron is now in production, as well are the second and third gas and the evolution chamber. So there is some aggression on its way over for ABOMB, but Lurlian, I'm quite confident Phamut is going to be able to hold this.
He should be alright. I mean, there's no... actually, there is a forward pylon. Wow, how did that probe get past those Zerglings out on the map? Of course, there are no centralized watchtowers here, so defending the middle can actually be a little bit hard. Like I mentioned, this map is different from what we're used to, and one of those aspects is there's no guard tower in the middle of the map, so a probe can just, with a little bit of creative waypoints, can just get to a position, avoiding the Zerglings, and drop down a pylon like it has right now. And this pressure is actually a little bit scary, but with 9 roaches on the way, I don't foresee too much trouble for Phamut.
No, nor do I. And to be honest, the only real concern is this third base, because as we can see, the destructible rocks have been taken out now by ABOMB, and so these zealots are going to be coming over, and while there are a couple of roaches on the way, it was looking risky until those roaches hit the field, because that's the point where you can take some damage. But obviously, zealots against roaches are fine, and there goes the recall. Good timing, and this is where we really see, as a Protoss player now, you can be so much more aggressive. In Wings of Liberty, if you'd lost all of those units, you would have been in a lot of problems now from a counter-attack.
Did lose a sentry though, was a little bit late on that recall. Has lost 4 sentries in this game. We shouldn't neglect that. That's a lot of gas lost in sentries. Talking about sentries, we got a War Prism filled with sentries heading into the main base of our Zerg player Phamut right now. Is he gonna get the force move down in time? No, he's not. Ooh, that was close. Those sentries are going to be picked up by the War Prism. Is he going to be able to make this work? The Zealots don't have +1, so the Zerglings might be a little bit stronger than they look.
Indeed, we see a good little bit of micro on the pick-up and drop play, but unfortunately the sentries are still getting taken down, and without additional sentries, that force field's about to end. So there is enough energy for 1-2 more, but once they're gone, you're going to run into some problems. So we can see a pick-up now of all the Zealots, so that's really just to keep things safe. Pulling back out now for ABOMB. He did a little bit of damage, but lost 3 sentries in there, so that's a bit too much of a loss for what you're really gaining, in my opinion.
Ooh, loses another sentry, but at the same time he's going to be attacking into the third base with a few zealots. They still don't have +1. The Queen is there to defend. The Queen is not being micro though. The roaches are rallied. I don't think Phamut has really noticed yet. Now he has, and the rest of his roaches are going to come in here to clean up. The zealots are going to be able to kill 1, 2, maybe even a third and a fourth drone if they right-click on it. No, not 4 drones, but decent economic damage was done there by ABOMB, killing 3 workers. But like you mentioned, Maddles, he lost maybe a few too many sentries.
Yeah, I think he did. He's going in for some Immortal harassment now. So just the one Immortal in the War Prism. So really harass heavy, but hasn't actually managed to do very much damage at all. When we think in all of the games, there's been very little work harass early on that's been successful from either player. It's not really until the mutas start coming out that we've seen a lot of probes die, and ABOMB, even when he went for 3 oracles, was only able to kill off 2 drones. So Phamut obviously likes protecting his drones, and it may have something to do with the fact that he doesn't like building too many of them either, with only 49 on the field at the moment.
A big wave of drones just finished up. 57 now for Phamut, but you're right, he's always a bit on the low side of things when it comes to worker count. The Immortal has once again been dropped and killing some workers, now up to 5 workers killed, so that Immortal has been able to kill 2 workers and maybe a Zergling or 2. Now going to be dropping down into the natural again. Has to be careful, there is a Spore Crawler there, does not want to lose that to Immortal, of course. That would be a very costly loss, but what he's trying to do now is buy time for his third base to finish up, buy time for his cannons to finish, and have a defendable third when he's done harassing with that Immortal. He's just trying to buy time. He's definitely not looking to kill much here.
Yeah, it's got a couple of kills, trying to get a few drones, but as you said, with the roaches sitting there now, that War Prism has got to get out of there. No 5th or 6th gas yet for Phamut. So he is staying just on the 4 gas for quite a long time. He's got the Hydrogen coming out and is getting, obviously, the 25% move speed advantage, so, or upgrade rather, which means that you can be more aggressive with Roach Hydra, because one of the big problems in Wings of Liberty going Hydras is if things don't work out, you can't escape off creep. If they're just so slow, you'll die no matter what's chasing you. I mean, I think you could probably get chased by High Templar and still die. They're that slow. So, of course, you do. That isn't actually factual. I could very well be wrong. It was a joke. Anyone who is going to pick me up on that. But as we can see, once you get this,
so bad, he said High Templars are going to be outrunning Hydras off creep. That's what you're going to see on. That's what you're going to see on Reddit if you anger the wrong people. And talk about angry. I think these drones are going to be pretty angry because 2 Immortals have double the DPS of 1 Immortal. And oh my god, what's happening in the middle of the map? Both armies are missing each other, Maddles. This is going to make for a very awkward engagement.
It is. We see the Roach Hydras coming in, and there isn't. All the defense for ABOMB is up at his 3rd base. His natural is getting absolutely devastated. The robotics facility goes down. The Forge does finish the upgrade just in time. That upgrade does complete, so that is good news. All of ABOMB's army on its way back now. Some storms are starting to hit. We've got some force fields getting some good traps on a few of those units, but with the natural down, this is quite a lot of problems. Meanwhile, the Immortal back in the main base, they picked off an extractor. It's all looking pretty tough.
I'm not sure if our observer caught that on stream, but the Roaches and the Hydras were getting away. They were escaping, and then Phamut, right-clicked on his natural, and instead of taking the long way around on the right side, they ran back into the Protoss army, got force fielded, got stormed, and he lost his entire army there because of that misclick. Oh lord, that wasn't good. Phamut, I think that mistake is going to cost him the game.
It very well could. We can see that if we look at the army supply, it is now 76 to 39 in ABOMB's favor. And there is the Grat. Good job. GG. Well played out of Phamut with